In the heart of Dubai, the city that has long been a symbol of opulence and grandeur, there is an uncomfortable truth hiding in plain sight. Beneath the glittering towers, the luxurious malls, and the pristine roads, Dubai's most ambitious mega-projects are showing signs of strain. The monumental projects that were once seen as the embodiment of Dubai's limitless ambition are now slowly buckling under the weight of economic shifts, unanticipated challenges, and financial uncertainty. These projects, city developments, futuristic resorts, and grand skyscrapers, are increasingly plagued by delays, massive cost overruns, and investor withdrawals. A leak from an insider source close to these developments has revealed shocking details that no one was meant to see. As these mega-projects teeter on the edge, many are left wondering, is this the end of Dubai's era of unbridled growth, or is it simply the beginning of a new, quieter, more uncertain future? The towering ambitions that once propelled Dubai to the forefront of global development are now shrouded in a fog of uncertainty, and the question is no longer if the bubble will burst, but when. Dubai's reputation has always been built on the grandiose. Every year, the city unveils new, larger-than-life projects that push the boundaries of what's possible. Swimming pools on skyscrapers, man-made islands, the tallest buildings in the world. It was a place where the word impossible had no meaning, and for a while, the city thrived on it. Global investors flocked to Dubai, eager to be part of this modern-day oasis. The promise was clear: invest in Dubai, and you could count on exponential returns. The city's ambition appeared limitless, and the projects that marked its skyline were touted as the epitome of luxury and forward thinking. But slowly, cracks began to show in the glossy facade. Projects that once boasted promising returns started struggling to meet deadlines. Costs ballooned, and investors began questioning the viability of Dubai's development model. The insider leak reveals that the cracks are far deeper than most realized. These are not just projects facing minor setbacks, they are symbols of a larger, more systemic issue in Dubai's development machine. As the city's massive infrastructure projects reach critical junctures, the question becomes clearer: has Dubai's unstoppable rise come to a halt? The early signs of trouble were subtle but undeniable. In the first half of the 2020s, Dubai's construction industry was hit with rising raw material costs and disruptions in the global supply chain. The global pandemic further exacerbated the situation, leaving many of the city's most high-profile projects stalled. The once unprecedented speed at which Dubai could bring its vision to life started to slow. What seemed like a temporary disruption, a hiccup in the road, quickly became a trend. Project deadlines that were once met with military precision began to slip. The luxury resorts that were supposed to open their doors to the world's elite suddenly found themselves faced with major delays. The financial backing that these colossal undertakings required was harder to secure as markets shifted and investors grew wary. Banks, once eager to fund the city's next grand vision, started rethinking their positions, especially with rising global interest rates. The once solid foundation of Dubai's mega-project ambitions was beginning to feel less like an unstoppable force and more like a fragile house of cards. These projects, once seen as guaranteed wins, began facing growing doubts. Was this just the normal growing pains of a rapidly expanding city, or was it something much more dangerous? The leaks suggest that behind closed doors, things are not nearly as stable as they seem. As these mega-projects began to unravel, the financial reality became undeniable. Reports from industry insiders paint a grim picture. The overall cost of major projects, including residential complexes, commercial developments, and iconic tourist resorts, has surged far beyond initial budgets. The cost overruns have reached billions of dollars, and as the final structures start to emerge, their profitability is increasingly in question. The grandiose Palm Jebel Ali, for example, once hailed as a major achievement in real estate development, has been stifled by massive delays and cost challenges. Originally slated to be an extension of the successful Palm Jumeirah, it has faced slow development and investor hesitancy. Then there is the Dubai Creek Tower, which was supposed to surpass the Burj Khalifa and cement Dubai's status as a global icon. However, construction has stalled, and there's little sign of progress as the city struggles with the financial strain of ongoing work. The data doesn't lie. Dubai's real estate market, once booming, is now facing a potential glut of unsold luxury units. Analysts predict that this could lead to a serious market correction. But it isn't just the numbers themselves that are worrying, it's the timing. These projects, once symbols of Dubai's boundless growth, are now viewed by many investors and insiders as unsustainable in the long term. At the core of these problems lies Dubai's economic model. The city built its reputation on massive, show-stopping developments that promised to attract international tourism and investment. But the system that once worked so seamlessly is now struggling under the weight of its own ambition. Dubai's growth was powered by the relentless construction of high-end, luxury developments, often funded by loans, investment funds, and international capital. These projects were intended to generate returns for both investors and the city's government. However, with international markets facing increasing volatility, the financial ecosystem that Dubai had built is showing signs of strain. Banks and investors that once eagerly poured money into these developments are now more cautious. The reliance on real estate and tourism as the city's main economic drivers is beginning to seem less secure in a world that is rapidly changing. The leaks point to a fundamental issue. The city has over-leveraged itself in a way that is now unsustainable. The lure of luxury and excess, which once defined Dubai, may have run its course. The city's infrastructure projects, once considered groundbreaking, are now viewed as risky gambles by a growing number of financial experts. The system that Dubai built to sustain its expansion is now facing a reckoning, and it's the city's largest projects that are paying the price. It was a slow burn. The breakdown of Dubai's megaprojects didn't come in one catastrophic moment. Rather, it has been a steady erosion of the foundations. Construction schedules have slipped year after year, budgets have spiraled, and the initial excitement surrounding some of these developments has turned to doubt. Investors who once saw Dubai as a surefire winner are now questioning whether these projects can ever turn a profit. Take the Dubai World Central, a massive logistics and residential project that was supposed to transform the city into a global hub for trade. While parts of the project have progressed, large sections of the development have stalled. The reason? The financial landscape has shifted dramatically, and with that shift came an erosion of trust in the viability of such large-scale projects. The breakdown is not just structural, it's economic. The city's reliance on a handful of megaprojects to drive its economy has left it vulnerable to changing trends in global trade, tourism, and real estate. And as these projects falter, they drag the entire city's reputation down with them. What was once an unstoppable machine is now showing signs of fatigue. While the financial consequences of these megaproject struggles may be felt first by investors, the human cost is just as significant. Thousands of workers, many of whom came to Dubai with the promise of steady employment and a bright future, now find themselves out of work as construction schedules are delayed and projects are put on hold indefinitely. Contractors, laborers, and engineers, many of whom came from abroad, are facing uncertainty in a city that once promised them the world. But it's not just the workers who are feeling the pressure. Dubai's residents, who once watched in awe as the city's skyline transformed before their eyes, are now witnessing a different kind of transformation. One where the glittering towers stand half-finished, and the promise of growth feels more like a distant memory. For Dubai's middle class, who have invested in the city's real estate boom, the effects are even more pronounced. As property values stagnate and sales slow down, many find themselves trapped in a housing market that no longer delivers the returns they were promised. The human toll of these mega-project struggles is not just measured in dollars, it's measured in shattered dreams and lost opportunities. Dubai's problems go deeper than just stalled mega-projects. Beneath the surface, there are larger, systemic issues that are making these developments increasingly difficult to sustain. The city's population is growing older, and the demand for ultra-luxury real estate is plateauing. What was once a city of rapid expansion is now facing challenges as new generations of buyers look for more practical, affordable living solutions. Meanwhile, the environmental impact of these developments is becoming harder to ignore. As climate change concerns mount, the massive energy consumption and unsustainable water usage of Dubai's grand constructions are being called into question. Add to that the increasing cost of living, regional geopolitical tensions, and a slowdown in global tourism, and it's clear that Dubai is facing a perfect storm. These hidden layers are not just contributing to the struggles of its megaprojects, they're reshaping the city's future in ways that will be felt for decades to come. Dubai is not alone in facing these challenges. Cities around the world are dealing with similar issues, particularly those that built their identities on large-scale, luxury developments. Cities like New York, London, and Hong Kong have seen their own property bubbles burst or plateau. as the world's wealthy begin to turn their attention to more affordable and sustainable investments. Dubai's problems are part of a larger global shift away from extravagant, resource-intensive developments toward more practical, sustainable urban planning. The difference, however, is that Dubai's entire identity was built on the idea that it could create the impossible, constantly reinventing itself and its skyline. As these megaprojects begin to falter, it's clear that the city's once unshakable position as the crown jewel of the Middle East is being called into question. If Dubai can no longer sustain its biggest developments, what does that mean for the future of other cities that modeled themselves after it? The truth is difficult to ignore. Dubai, the city that promised the world, is facing a reckoning. The megaprojects that were once seen as the future of global development are now showing signs of collapse. The grand towers and luxurious resorts are no longer the symbols of progress they once were. Instead, they're a reminder of the risks of unchecked ambition and the consequences of building a city on unstable foundations. Dubai may not be dying, but it's clear that its era of boundless growth is over. The question now is, can the city reinvent itself once again, or is it doomed to be left behind in the wake of its own grandiose dreams? Is Dubai truly dying, or is it simply waking up to the reality of its own limits? The city that once prided itself on being a symbol of excess and ambition now finds itself grappling with the weight of its own creations. The megaprojects that once seemed like the future now feel more like relics of a past era. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you believe Dubai can survive this transformation, or is it time for a new vision to take its place? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth stories like this one. The future of Dubai is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the dream is changing.